All right, it is October 8th, 2024. It's a Tuesday. It's Heart Centered Marketing. And I am with my good friend Alex Veng in the house. He is here. And yeah, man, we were just chatting a little bit offline, and I'm trying to get my food down real quick to get here real quick. And he's waiting for me in the green room. He's like, dude, what's going on? Let's get this thing going. And I am super excited that you are here to talk about this cool thing, and I know that we got a whole bunch of stuff that we could talk about today: entrepreneurship, the strategies that or the things that we did for success. So, welcome, my friend. Before we get into the topic today, welcome, my friend. How you doing?
Joey, thanks for having me on, man. So officially, it's my second time on the show. Very excited about this.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, if you're watching at home, welcome. My name's Alex. I'm glad you're here. I think we got a pretty good show scheduled for today, don't we, Joey?
Oh, well, all the time, man. Anytime you are on, it's a good show. And by the way, Alex is my boy from Kajabi. He is the head. What are you, like, the head of marketing? You run the whole show over there, don't you?
No, not even close. No, not even close. I wish that'd be pretty cool, but I don't want to step on anybody's toes. I'm a lead customer training specialist at Kajabi, and that's like that's a fancy way to say I help people with their businesses who
Nice.
sign up for Kajabi. So
Nice. Yeah, we
yeah,
love Kajabi. We love everybody over at the Kajabi. So, hello, Kajabi people listening in, and you and I do a show over there officially on Fridays, every first Friday of the month, which is like epic. But we don't. That's a whole other discussion that we can get into in another time. I want to talk about today's topics. I'm gonna give I guess the categories, and then we can just jump into things. And by the way, if you're here live with us, let us know with a hashtag live or hashtag replay. And I didn't even set up my iPad to see if I could see anybody in the Facebook group, which I'll probably be doing as you're talking. So if you see me looking down, that's what I'm doing, everyone. But here's what we're going to talk about: 5 areas of successful key strategies that we've employed, because I know Alex, he's crushed it before and is crushing it. And we're just going to kind of go off the cuff here on maybe some stories or strategies or ideas around these things. One of the key areas is continuous learning. And that is huge because it's always about the industry trends that are happening. When it was before, it was always about industry trends, but now it's even more important because of the AI coming into play and the landscape is changing. I know the last time that you talked or you were here, we talked a lot about AI. So
yeah,
that'll probably come up. Hey, Tanya, is it Tanya? Don't know which one it is, but I always say the with the A. So forgive me if it's the wrong pronunciation. Good to see you here. Thank you for being here. So networking is the next one, and adaptability, which is being able to pivot and adjust your strategies. This one is a huge one for me. Like, I'm a real good person in terms of adaptability. So I want to talk a
same.
little bit about that today. Focus on problem solving. And this one, it sounds like it's, well, duh, Joey, right? But I think that you and I have a lot to talk about when it comes to that area. And what this means in terms of focus on problem solving is a lot of people focus on the customer, or sorry, they focus on building solutions rather than actually going out and looking at what is the problem the customer's having and then building a solution around that. So it's kind of like, hey, you know what? I'm really good at this and I want to build this program. And then they go out and they sell it. And then it's really not a problem that people are really willing to pay for, or it's kind of like a mosquito bite. It's not a snake bite. It's like, well, it's not really a big problem for me. So that's
You
number
created
four,
a solution
right?
to a problem that not many people have.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I could deal with that. And then embrace failure as learning. That's another big area for me. So, dude, I'll let you, because I want to mess around with my Facebook thingy. So I'll let you
Yeah,
start the conversation and then see if I can get this thing up and running. But which one of those do you want to just start
that's
talking
actually
about?
perfect. I'm going to start right at the top.
Cool.
Continuous learning. I've got two very important points here to make. Okay, so first of all, my first point here, I guess, with continuous learning is make sure that like find a specific thing that you can be an expert in. That's what I did. I really honed in on artificial intelligence for example, and I became the AI guy. Anytime anybody had a question, anytime anybody wanted me to create content about this thing, they came to me because I positioned myself as the expert in this subject area. And
Right
a
on.
really good thing to do is to find. I'll just give you an example. If you go to futuretools.com, I believe, or no, futuretools.io,
Mm-hmm.
okay, they have a little tab up at the top and it says news. I go there almost every day because, like, for example, today I believe there's 5 or 6 things that happened in the world of AI. Okay. And so I'm an expert on this stuff because not because I'm like super smart, I just know where to find
Yeah.
the newest news coming out about the topic. You know what
Yeah,
I
I
mean?
hear you.
So continuous learning, super, super, super important. And if you want to stay up to date, that's what I recommend, right? Become a subject matter expert on something and find a way to find out stuff about it that not many people know about. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I know I just outed my way of, of being able to find out stuff on artificial intelligence, but hey, there's that. And then the second thing that I have to say about this is don't sleep on LinkedIn Learning. It's actually really cool. They have topics on things that you definitely would not expect, like very niche skills that you can build. So don't sleep on LinkedIn Learning either.
Wow, man. Like say, constant learning, it's just part of my DNA. I've always been this person who loves knowledge and absorbing knowledge. And it's part of, like, I can't breathe without it. And it's more than just being a knowledge junkie. It's something where I'm always taking knowledge, consolidating it, and trying to utilize, which is one of the things we'll talk about today, is on the problem solving. Like, how do I take all of this knowledge that's out there, consolidate it into a system or a process that works to solve this problem? And so I'm with you, man. Like, I'm always looking at the continuous learning. How do I do this? And I think it's some to the degree sometimes that I'm like OCD about it, or I'm just really addicted to it. Like I said, I can't go a day without learning something new, and it's kind of weird for me. It's not that that it's bad or worse, or I'm judging anyone about it, but I just don't understand when someone doesn't want to learn. Like, it's just something that I can't get past. I'm like, why? Why wouldn't you want to know that? And it's only because I'm just a natural curious being. That's all.
Hmm.
It's just like, wow, how do I learn that? You know?
Yeah, I love that. Being curious for sure. I
Yeah.
also think if you're not learning and growing, you're dying.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I remember you talked about AI, and a couple of years ago, well, not a couple of years ago, what am I saying? It's like AI has been around for years. It was only last year, really, where this thing kind of took off for me with the Chat GPT and all that, and it was like, you know what? I was like, that whole Chat GPT thing is, I don't really know about it yet, because I know what it's going to do is this, and what it's going to do is that, and I really wasn't jumping on board with it. Um, and then my whole tune changed because I have a lot of really, really great friends, including you, who are like right into it and learning what it's supposed to be doing. And so my perspective changed, and now that's all I'm doing. Like, it's really, how do I utilize this in my business so that it helps me amplify the business, not replace things for me in the business per se. And I think that's where, and you correct me if I'm wrong, you know more about it than I do, but a lot of people right now looking at AI is as a shortcut. And I think that's a mistake. I think it's more of, how do I teach AI to learn more about my business, rather than going out and just taking what it scrapes from the web, right? It's like I was playing with it the other day, and I showed my academy group just a very simple situation, which was more about the dream client. Like, what about the dream client? What can you learn about this? And instead of me saying, hey, can you tell me what my niche is, or what the problems are of my niche, I actually fed it information from my niche, right? Completely different
Mhm.
situation, because from what I understand about it, and this is what I'm learning, so maybe you can say if I'm right or wrong about this, is that it's all about what you feed it. The
Yeah.
input is the most important thing. Prompts are great. All that stuff is fantastic, but it's more about the input. And when is that right or wrong? But do you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, depending on what you put into the AI and how much context you give, I
Yeah.
think that's the word you're looking for there, context. Because,
Yeah.
the prompts are prompts, you can use any prompt, but the context that you give, the amount of context that you give, it's just going to increase the accuracy in the answer.
Yeah. So right, the context around it, but also I'm talking about feeding it the information. So let's say I said, well, listen, my market is online coaches who are heart centered, and sure, it could give me all kinds of great stuff. These are the problems they have. This is what they want, blah, blah, blah. But dude, I'm telling you, everything changes when I feed it the information that I've been collecting data over the last 5 years just on that. And just having little things and putting that in and saying, here, this is the information that I got. Can you analyze this for me and tell me what's going on? Right. So that's where the AI is, to me, like super, super powerful. So I could have spent months doing this myself, or hire analysts or something, or strategists to look at this, or marketing experts to do all that. And that's where, once that mind or perspective opened in my mind in terms of the constant learning, it was like, holy crap, I'm in. Right. So it's let everyone else do the regular stuff and get the regular information. And you're still going to be able to stand out, I believe, when you input the right information that it takes and then write the context around that. So
Yeah.
here's the info, and then here's the context I want. And then
Yeah.
you
No, I
get,
totally agree with you.
yeah,
I guess I didn't understand what you were saying there at the beginning. That's actually brilliant, Joey. Because essentially what you're doing is, because remember last time we talked about, well, ChatGPT, all these learning language models, all they really are basically robots that are really good at doing Google searches really quick and then giving you a custom answer.
right,
So it's not real artificial intelligence. It's not. It's
right.
just a robot who can do Google searches really quick. So the difference here that you're doing and why it's working so well for you is because instead of combing through all this stuff that it's trained on,
Yeah,
it's only you're saying that you're training it on the data that you are giving it. So that right away gives you a competitive advantage
right.
on because you only have that data.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly right. Like I'll give you like a specific example of this. I wanted to write, get examples for like a post or something, right? So and I'm trying to do this to help my clients because like everything's changed the game. Like so when I was first doing Atlas a few years ago, and I was showing them how to get customer data and get the right marketing message, all the stuff they ask about, right? How do you know the right marketing message? How do you know how to peak interest, all this? So I showed them how to do that. And by going to places to research and then doing something that I call dynamic assembly, which is basically taking pieces and assembling it into frameworks that are already out there. But you're using the real customer data and the language. So all I did is the same thing. So now I've taken out the step of, well, I don't have to really worry about feeding it into or creating the templates because ChatGPT already knows what those are and all that because that data is out there. But now it's like, well, here's a whole bunch of jumbled stuff that I have. And literally, I was showing my wife the other day. I go, I can't believe this. Like, it's just literally, I just copied and pasted. I threw it in there, and it was a jumbled mess of just quotes and messages and problems. And I go, can you take that and just give me like 10 things to talk about? And it just 10 things, here are the things you want to talk about. And it was all related to the stuff that I put in. I'm like, this is it. This is like,
Cheat code.
yeah, it's a cheat code. It's brilliant. Yeah, man, we could talk about this all day long. I'm super, super excited about this one. Okay, so
Yeah,
you
see,
talk,
somehow we always get on the topic of AI and kind of just stay there because it's so interesting to talk about, right?
yeah, I love it, man. And what else did you say? You said there was something else that you mentioned off the top of these five key strategies. What was the other one that you talked about?
Well, I talked about not sleeping on LinkedIn.
Oh,
Is that what you're referring to? Yeah,
no,
LinkedIn Learning, they
there's
have
a
very niche skills that you can learn.
cool, cool, cool. I thought there was another topic that you were touching, or you were just on the first one, continuous learning.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was just on that. Yeah. Let's move on to another one. Networking. I know that um, you
Yeah, Tanya,
are
it's amazing.
very interested in that. What did she say?
She said that it's amazing that it can read through a jumbled mess.
Oh,
It's
gotcha. Yeah.
incredible. It's incredible. I'm actually doing like so on Thursday we have our monthly huddle for my coaching group, and I'm like super excited to teach them this one. I can't wait to show them. Like, you know, when you can't sleep, it's like almost Christmas. It's like that for me. I'm like, oh, can't wait till Thursday.
Yep. No, I totally get that. Yeah, I get like that when we have meetings. I'm
Yeah,
weird.
man.
I'm just really excited to show my teammates like what I've been working on and stuff. So
Love it. Love it.
yeah, I understand it's a little different probably because I can't. Do you have many guests on the show who are employed, or do you have many guests that are mostly business owners?
I would say it's mostly business owners,
Right.
mostly
So
entrepreneurs,
it's a different
solopreneurs.
perspective here then.
Yeah, which is fantastic. Like, I
Yeah.
love new perspectives. It's so cool.
Yeah. So networking, right? It's actually funny. I touched on this last time that we were on here, but man, the way that I've gotten pretty much every job in the past, 5 years or so, maybe probably past decade, is because I knew somebody. Um, like I haven't had to do a resume in a very long time, and I think once you get up to that level, the network that you build will supply you with what you need.
Right,
And I think that's
right,
that's the goal, right?
right. It's the same thing. I totally agree with you. My network of individuals now, like very high level people, has only started to increase over the last 2 years or so, and I've known a lot of them for many, many years, but now I have personal relationships with so many amazing, amazing people who I bring into Academy as special guests, and sometimes we have them here. But that all started with first of all, I think it starts here. Let me back up. I believe it starts with investing with ourselves. Like, we have to do that first, and you get into a network or a mastermind, whatever you want to call it, that you're there to improve your business, but you're also connecting with people, right? And so that led me along the pathway to meet people who helped me connect with now my great, great growing network, right? And here's the great part, and you know this. I'm just saying this for anybody listening, is that once you have one or two of a very well-known person or whatever, then it's so much easier to get other well-known people because you have those other two, because everyone is connected. Like, everyone is so
Hmm.
connected, and that's how my network grew. But if I didn't do it, if I didn't invest in myself first, I would have never gotten to where I am today with the quality of network of people that I have in my network. That's really what I'm trying to say, because so many people, I think, are afraid to do that. They're afraid to invest in themselves. What would you say to that?
Right. Well, the idea is just to start,
Yeah.
right? Because that's the hardest part, just to start. Like, you got to get. It's not necessarily like a friend. Eventually, hopefully, there'll be a friend. But like,
Yeah.
um, I guess I have a couple ways to start. Basically, it's find somebody who you want to be like, somebody who is at where you want to be, and then offer to help them do something,
Yeah.
right? Because here's the thing, somebody who's at that level that you want to be at, they don't they have no business hanging out with you, right? For them, in their mind, they're thinking, I am the five people I surround myself with, so why am I gonna go down the ladder? So what you could do is you could offer to help them, right? Nobody's gonna. And I swear to God, right? People always say, "Can I pick your brain? Pick your brain. Pick your brain." Oh, I hate that saying so
Yeah,
much.
it's
I
one of the
really do.
worst things you could ask. Like, one of the worst. Sorry, man. If it if what yeah, it's like, no.
Yeah. So it's more about how can you help that person, right? Provide value to their life, and then they'll reciprocate that, right? They'll provide value to your life, and that's how you get started with your network, right? Because
Yeah.
then you can start doing friendly name drops, right?
Yeah.
You can like, right, like, oh, I did some work with this person. Oh, I know them. Oh, great. Yeah, actually, they sent me your way, right? And then
Yeah.
it just keeps on building and building and building. Do you
Yeah.
agree with that, Joey?
100%. That's what I did. I leverage my network, or my friend. Giovanni is my coach. He's a good friend of mine, and when I took over some things, and that's what I did. I leveraged that, and it helped me grow the network. And so name dropping or whatever, but it was more. I was still helping. Like I was doing a major thing for everybody else. And I learned this from my good friend, I'll name drop, Steve Sims, who is great at this relationship building. And there's three people in my life that I want to mention actually who helped me understand relationships. And I believe that these are the trifecta for me personally about how to really build relationships. One is Joe Polish. So, What's in It for Them, I think, is his book, is a fantastic book about all relationships. What's in it for them? And then there's Kevin Thompson, which is like he's the network guy, and Steve Sims. Those three people helped me shape an understanding of what's networking all about. And I think it was Steve. I'll give him credit for this, but I learned. I remember learning from him. It was when you go and want to help somebody. Another not great question to ask is like, "Hey, Alex, I noticed that you're into AI and everything else. Listen, let me know if there's anything I can do to help you." Like, right? What does that do? Right? What does that do? It puts the
Well,
onus
provide
on
the
you.
task for me.
Yeah, it's like,
It's like,
dude, I
what
don't know
I
how
need
you're going
help.
to help me, right? So if anybody's listening to this, do the research. Like, go to Alex and say, "Listen, I know you're into AI. Listen, whatever. I just found this other thing, or here's what I can do about this. I don't know if that'll help you, but let me know if that does." Right? Like, don't give them the task to figure out, because that's where I thought this is a big mistake I used to do. Is like, "Hey, anytime you need some help, let me know." Right? They're like, "Okay," and I never would get a request. Never gets like, "Hey, Joey,
Right.
can you help me do this?" Because it's on them. Right? So that little nugget was like a game changer for me.
Right. I think Gary Vee says it first, like provide value first, right? Just like give value up front and expect nothing in return. But be like, if you want some, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
Like,
that's what people think, or at least I was thinking. It was like, okay, I'll provide any value you need. I've been an entrepreneur all my life. Anything you need in terms of marketing or this, that, just let me know. That's not
yeah,
providing value. That's providing a problem for somebody. Say, how's he going to fit? Like, I don't know.
yeah. I'm sorry, I don't have a task for you. I've
Yeah,
immediately forgot about this conversation.
yeah.
Right.
We'll contact you. We'll let you know. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, so adaptability. Anything on that one?
Um, so yeah. Well, I mean, COVID was a big thing for me. That's the, I guess, from my, I have the memory of a goldfish. I really do. But COVID, COVID was the thing where, I really had to adapt. Really had to adapt. I mean, I lost my job during COVID. I had to start. I started my own business,
Wow.
um, and it was pretty awesome. It was a lot of fun. But then I quickly realized I had to be the person to sell the deal, market the deal, do all the work, and then like handle all the support afterwards. And then while I was doing that, get more deals, and also be a good husband at the same time. So it was really tough. I totally nailed the being a good husband part. I just want to put that out there. Um, but
Yeah, we got
but
to see
all the
that
rest
because
of
we know
the
your
stuff,
wife is watching.
yeah. But all the rest of the stuff, it was just really tough, But you lose your job. Okay, all right. So I got to adapt. Well, what am I good
Right.
at? I can start a business on that, and I did it, and it worked for a while, and it was great. But I realized that hey, maybe this specific business is definitely not for me. I need some stability right now. So,
Got it.
got back in. But like, yeah, learning to adapt. I mean, I think there's a saying, right? I was like, it's like adapt or die. I think that's true because you either have to because in the world, like stuff happens. Sorry, I won't,
100%.
I won't say it, but like stuff happens,
Yeah.
right? And you need to adapt. I feel like it's also it's a major tell to your IQ, right?
Really?
Based on like
Okay.
how you can react to
Yeah.
something. Yeah, because if a bad thing happens to you and you just like blame everybody
Yeah.
else, right? Then well now you're just stuck blaming everybody else. But if you take responsibility, okay, COVID it had nothing to do with me, but you know what? Here's my chance to do this. If you take a situation, though I guess if there's a learning here, when stuff happens, you need to look at it as an opportunity, no matter how awful the thing that happens, right? There's always an opportunity to grow.
100%. And you're actually touching on on the bottom one, which is embrace failure as learning. So
Yeah.
realistically, it wasn't your fault that it was failure, but there was still failure in the business or failure in your job or something to that effect, if you want to use that word, right? So, yeah, I think that when it comes to adaptability, for me, it's always been about adaptability is like going into a market or doing anything in my world or anything in my life. It's always been about, I know where the destination is. I think I know where the destination is. And then I would always get challenged on how you're going to do that. And I would never know the answers. I'm like, I don't know. I'm just going to go do it. So I was always in the battlefield making up the plans. How am I going to do this? And so when I started, even when COVID was happening, and then my business was failing in 2019, I tell that story all the time on Kajabi. You've heard it like a billion times, but
Yeah.
that time between 2016 and 19 with that failure was like, man. And then I just adapted to, wait a minute, I'm just going to build this product. I'm not going to build a product. I'm going to co-create the product with everyone, and that's what I did. And then I ended up selling a program to help people do that exact thing. Like, here's what I did. Let me show you exactly how I did that. And I still think today it's one of the best ways to start an online business. And because you're getting feedback from customers, you're going in. And even on today's call, I had a client who she was saying, like, what's the next step for me? Like, what do I do? And because she's done a couple of cohorts already. And I go, you don't do anything. Like, you still iterate that cohort, because the problem is, I find in my world, a lot of people just want to add more stuff. Like, what's the next thing that I add on? What's the next thing? I'm like, it's not ready yet. You're not ready to go yet. Just keep doing the one thing, and you're going to be a different person. Because she even said, like, I'm a different person than I was two cohorts ago, or a cohort ago, whatever it was. I'm like, yeah, I know. And you're going to be another different person 12 weeks from now when you do the next one. And that's because you're getting feedback all the time, which is pivoting, right? You're adjusting the program as you go. I think is the most powerful way to get to the stuff we're talking about here. What's the true problem that we're solving is when you go into that market or create a program, co-create it, get feedback. You're going to get a lot of stuff that doesn't work. They don't react to it. And that is what adaptability for me is huge in my business. It's all about that. Go in, adapt.
Yeah. Wow. Actually, yeah, I love that you said that. And now every time now in November, when you talk about that on the Dream Customer Workshop, I'm going to be thinking about that. Yeah, I think I've got one last thing to add here.
Yeah.
Unless you are Jeff Bezos, your first business is going to fail.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like he literally has had the perfect business, right? Amazon, right? It was his first business, started a garage, and now it's, arguably has a chokehold on the entire distribution of planet Earth.
Hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, nobody has a bigger chokehold on like distribution than Jeff Bezos from
Yeah.
Amazon. So, but that was
Yeah.
his first business. You are not Jeff Bezos,
No.
you person watching, right? Your first business is, and even if it's your 19th business, your the business that you have a year from then is going to look way different than your business plan, and that's because you have to be able to adapt. It always happens like that. It never fails. Uh, right, in life, you're going to pay taxes, you're going to die, and things will change. Right, so you need to adapt.
100%. Yeah, 100%. That's why one of my favorite quotes is, I'm going to mess it up, but is it from General MacArthur, whatever it is? The guy, the plan is no good until it actually it goes on the battlefield and you execute, and the plan will always change no matter how much you plan. So it's always going to be different, something like that. And I've always kept that in my brain. Like, that's absolutely true. Like, you can sit there for weeks and weeks creating this perfect battlefield plan, and as soon as you get on the battlefield, when you encounter the enemy, whatever that enemy is, it's going to change, because you can kind of predict things that are going to go, but it's never going to go the way that you planned. And so that's how
Right.
I'm like, okay, here's kind of what I'm going to do. But then if you're not able to adapt from that thing, that plan, like, no, that's what we were taught. Like, that's what we were supposed to be going to do. Well, you're going to get killed, bro. Like, you're not going to, you're not going to survive. So you
Yeah,
have to be able to adapt.
I really like Mike Tyson's version of that quote where he says,
I know where you're going with this one.
"Everybody has a plan until I punch him in the face."
Yeah, until they
right?
get hit in the face. Yeah, yeah. But it's so true though, right? Everybody has the best strategy to beat until you get hit in the face. Classic. By the way, if you're here live, let us know. Hashtag live, hashtag replay. I can see the comments coming in from the Facebooks, the group. If I'm live there, I can't. Actually, what am I saying? I'm watching it. I'm saying if I'm live there. Duh, right? So, and by the way, if you have a question, comment, or anything like that, please put it in the comments. We would love to have interaction here. It's not just me and Alex. We could talk anytime we want to. We'd love to talk to you if you have any questions or comments or anything like that. Focus on problem solving. Let me quote this from Eric Ries. Have you read The Lean Startup, by the way,
I have
Alex?
not.
Wow, dude. Okay, read that. Read that book.
Okay.
It's sick. Like that's where it all started for me. Like this was 2012, and this is where it is, and I've taken that, and that's kind of what I teach now today. Is basically, this comes from Silicon Valley, is where you go into the market and you just adapt. Like you say, here's the problem, here's what I'm trying to solve, and then you work with clients, paying clients, by the way, not free people, paying people, and then you adapt the program and the software, whatever it is that you're doing, until it is market ready. And that's exactly how I've been able to build my business to scale to what it is now. And so it was always about like what's the wrong thing, what's good, what's bad, and always getting feedback. But here's the thing that he says, and I'll quote this. This is from Lean Startup. He says, focus on solving real customer problems rather than just building solutions. I'll read that again because it's super important. Focus on solving real customer problems rather than just building solutions. Alex, I'll leave it to you. What does that mean to you?
That means so here's I'll do it this way. This explains why one of my webinars absolutely flopped, right? So at my job, my goal is to create webinars and trainings that help people, right, with their businesses. And so me in my head, I just have an idea and I go out and I create it, right? That's maybe not the best way to do it. Maybe I should get some data. Maybe I should do a survey at least to figure out what do people actually want instead of just doing what you think people want. Because again, it goes back to adaptability. How you think you want to solve the problem may not be how your customer wants that to happen. So your
Right.
business might have to change. So I absolutely agree. I absolutely like totally like build the thing with your customer, not in their absence, and then show it to them. They're going to be like, cool, but actually this is
Yeah,
what I
there's
need.
always
Right?
this question. I mean, I did this, or I still do this today, Alex. I'm still building. Like I learned from, I don't know if you know this or not, but Gmail is still in beta. Did you know that?
No, it's not.
It
You're,
is.
you're, you are
No, I'm
lying
not.
to me right now,
No,
Joey.
I'm not. So here's the story, and I tell this is part of my program because that's the reaction I always expect from people. Like, come on, what are you talking about? So because one of the things I say in Atlas is you're never out of beta, and they're like, what are you talking about? I go, well, look at Gmail. They're never out of beta. They're like, what are you talking about? So the only reason, because they're always iterating, they're always trying to get better. Okay, so the only reason you don't see the word beta under Gmail is because when they finally went to market to adopt more of the Microsoft users, this was like, I don't know how many years in, Microsoft said, when you get out of beta, like we're not going to switch everybody over, not Microsoft, people using Microsoft Outlook and all that said, we're not going to use a beta program. Like we're already set up over here. When you get your stuff together, then talk to us. So all Gmail, what Google did was take off the word beta, and now that's it. That was it. But Gmail is still in beta. So look it up, do all your research. You'll see. Okay. So where was I going with this? I see ADD. I was going off track, man. I don't know where I was going with this story.
You were just so
Co-create.
excited to tell me that Gmail is still in beta, I think is
Yeah,
what
I
it was.
was. I wanted to get something on you. It was something to do with the co-creation of the program and asking clients for stuff. And here's what it is. We go into problem solving with assumptions, no matter how long we've done it. That's the thing. But we don't think that. We're like, well, I've done this for 25 years. I already know. We don't know because, and Lorna just put up the quote. That wasn't the actual quote that I was looking for, but this is also a George Patton quote. Lorna, can you look up the other one where it says the plan falls apart in the battlefield or something like that? But here's the quote that she said: "A good plan executed is better than a perfect plan executed a week from now." That's George S. Patton. But there's another quote, Lorna, that talks about no plan survives the first encounter with the battlefield or something like that. No plan survives the first encounter with the enemy. Something around that line. So what I was saying, Alex, is that when I go into, I had my outline or my thoughts about it, and then they're asking questions that I didn't have the answer to, in terms of it's not that I don't know it. It wasn't in the program. So it was like I was going in with an assumption, like the curse of knowledge. They should already know this, and they don't know it. And that's where your program becomes immaculate, because you're like, oh, maybe I should include that. So that's why the surveys or the questions back and forth, and you're really zoning in on what are they asking me here, rather than trying to teach. It was more of, what am I missing, or what's not landing here? So it was like, yeah, I have a little bit of stuff I want to talk about. Here's the thing, but I was more in tune with what are they always asking and what are they inquiring about, and that's when the program becomes better and better. That's why the adaptability is super important.
Right. I love that, Joey. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why the lean startup is, that's where it all comes from. It's all that. It's going in, asking the customers, and focus on, is this a real problem or not? Because the solutions, we can come up with all kinds of solutions, but you have to hit a problem, like a true problem that they're willing to solve. And then what is the solution around it from your knowledge, right? All right.
I got to say, that's the question that has kept me as an employee.
Well, what do you mean?
Well, coming up with having a solution that is finding a solution to a big enough problem. That's just what's kept me an employee. Until I find something I know I can solve, I will always.
You always be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to be like, spill my guts, totally honest. That's it right there. I just, so far in my entire life, have not come across a problem. Maybe I have, like, subconsciously, but it just doesn't seem like I've come across anything that I know I can, like, really solve for a big enough group of people who have enough money. So
what is that? What is that for you?
No, that's what I'm saying. I have no idea what it is.
Well, but you also have, and then you don't have to answer this. I'm just putting you on the spot. But I'm just saying, if I was coaching you, I'd be like, well, what is that number? What's the big enough audience? What's the big enough number? Right? Because if the more clarity we have on this, the better it is. And we just talked about this again in my academy group today. We did our 90-day catch up, and I'm like, okay, like, are you measuring these things? What are the things that we're looking for that navigates the next 90 days? And one of the big questions I always ask, this is another tangent, but maybe it's worth it, is what are the distractions that you have to let go of? Like, what are the distractions? Because a lot of stuff that we do in our business, we think it's growing the business, but it's actually distractions. And I'll give you an example. An example is, let's say you and I, let's say we're starting a business, and we're like, okay, I got to market. I want to market this product, the massive thing that you just created. And you haven't created it yet, but you're going to go into co-creation. However, you want to market as well on YouTube. Okay. And you're like, okay, I got to learn how to do YouTube. That's a distraction at this point, because YouTube is not part of the game. What the game is learning how to craft the right program and doing internal stuff with your crew and your tribe and getting all that right, and then going out to YouTube to crush it, to focus on that. That's what I mean by distractions. And I see this all the time. So what are the distractions that you have to let go of?
That's a really good point that you brought up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, especially for somebody like me, who's just like, I'm like walking around undiagnosed ADD, right? I have,
oh man, dude,
I have shiny object syndrome, and I think that's what does it for me.
Okay. So this is on my desk. Do you know about this book?
No.
Dude, this guy, uh, Hollowell, okay, he's like the renowned expert of ADD. I have the other two books up there that changed my life, and the one's called, I think it's Driven from Distraction, and the other one's from Driven to something, whatever. Anyway, when I first read the first book, which was like 1997 when it was written, and it was like this dude opened up the top of my head, looked inside, and said, "This is how your brain works." I'm like,
Oh my
"Wow,
gosh. Wow.
wow." So I highly recommend anybody with like, especially entrepreneurs, like go read this book. I'm just reading it now, by the way, so I haven't finished it, but this is the updated version, much shorter, and you will learn a whole bunch of stuff about yourself. So you're like me. I'm undiagnosed. I'm
Yeah.
self-diagnosed. When you read the book, you'll be able to self-diagnose it like that. That's me.
Yeah. I actually misspoke there. I was diagnosed as a very young kid, but I hated the Adderall. I hated that. I was like, Mom, it makes me a different person. And
Yeah.
so they took me off of it as soon as was old enough.
Yeah, and you'll learn a lot about the medications and stuff. And like, I'm not medicated. Can you tell? Because I'm speaking like a mile a minute. But it's not that it's bad. It's just that it helps you understand what you are. Like the other book was way better for me because, again, not that this book is bad, but the second book, I think it was, there's like different types. There's different things that you need to do. Like, and everybody's different. So a stupid example of this would be like, for me, the morning routine that I need protein in my body in order for me not to be unfocused. Right. So I need protein. Other people would say like, you're crazy. Like the dietitians are saying, don't eat meat in the morning, or don't do this, or don't do that. I've tried to do certain things and it totally takes me off track. So that's why it's really important to do, again, continuous learning. We're back to the top.
Yeah.
Continuous learning. Why am I not being able to focus? Why am I shutting down in the middle of the day? Right. Another good book for you, Alex, if you haven't read this one, and anybody else listening, is, and my crew already knows I talk about this one all the time, The Power of When. Power of When. I forget the doctor's name, but it's kind of like this. It's like this reference book. It's not, you don't read it from start to finish,
Oh,
but you
gotcha.
figure
Yeah.
out your chronotype and when you should be doing all kinds of things. Like, you name it. When should you be arguing? Well, this is when you should be the best time to argue. This is the best time to do this. This is the best time to do that. And that
Really?
changed my life. Yeah. Because you know about flow zones, right?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
You're familiar with what, like, flow zones. You've heard of that before. Like inflow. No? It's when
You
it's
mean
when
like
you're
maybe? Yeah, but go ahead.
it's like when you're zoned in, and like when you're like, the world can be crashing
Oh,
around you and you're like zoned right in. And
yeah.
especially if you're
I call that the
ADD,
flow state. Yeah.
yeah, flow state.
Yes.
The
Okay.
flow state.
Yeah.
So that will tell you when your perfect flow state is,
Okay.
and to
Very cool.
protect that time. Right. So
You're
anyway,
putting me on to so many awesome books. I love this.
yeah, dude.
I
Okay.
need a book list after this.
So Lorna comes back with, okay, she found three. Not sure to attribute them. Why does these keep going away? So no, there it is. No plan survives contact with the enemy. No plan survives first contact with the enemy. That's the one. Whoever said it, but that's the one. Thank you, Lorna, for finding that. And Lorna says, Alex, whatever you're doing now, most likely could be turned into your business. And then Lorna's with the ADD. Yes. Hollowell is empowering a few of our gift of ADD. Yeah. It truly is. ADD is truly a gift. Truly a gift. If you know how to
Yeah.
use it.
I'm so glad you brought this back up. Yeah. Because so I have this theory because school, right? School. And, Kate, my wife, cover your ears real quick. She was a school teacher. So she was a teacher for like 12, 13 years. So cover your ears, honey. But school is meant to pump out people originally to work in the factories, right? It was just originally like
Mm-hmm.
the goal was to teach you stuff, but also to like condition you to sit still and do your task.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why me and school just like did not get along, right? Because I'm ADD. I can't sit still. I need to be
Mm-hmm.
like moving around. If you see me on this call, I'm sitting here like going back and forth. Like
Dude, look at how
I
many
can't.
things I'm juggling right now in my hands.
I've got
Dude,
this guy.
I'm not messing around. Okay. I hear you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so school for me, it's just like, we just did not get along. And I know I'm not alone. I know I'm not alone.
100%.
And it turns out a lot of entrepreneurs feel that way. They're like, I couldn't sit at school. I got awful grades. You know what I mean? And then I think you, right. I think that was your story, right?
That was my story. I didn't graduate. Like I didn't even
Right.
graduate.
Exactly.
Like, and I was like an advanced student in grade 2 or 3 whenever you start reading and they wanted to advance me to the next grade. And my mother goes, no. And then all of a sudden it was like downhill from there. Like, what happened to this kid? And it's just because I just don't want to be there. To me, it was more of, this doesn't make any sense to me. I don't need to learn this. And going back to continuous learning, right? I wanted to learn the things that I wanted to learn in order for me to advance my life or move my business forward or whatever. And I remember my dad, the only thing he was right about, like, right, Dad? Okay, the only thing he was right about was like, you're going to need math. I'm like, what am I going to need math for? So I kind of need math now, but algebra and all that
Count all the
stuff.
money you make with your business.
Yeah,
Come on, man.
yeah. It's so, but my thing was like, because I was an entrepreneur right from day one, man. And my thinking at 14, 15 years old was, all I need to do is get someone who knows how to do this better, and I would hire them to do that. Like, I don't need to go learn, or I'll go to the library and look and figure it out myself, because I'm a constant learner, right? My dad wasn't really like that. My dad wasn't, like book reading and all that. Me, I was like, hey, if I want to learn this, I'll go spend a couple of hours in the library and learn it. So he couldn't get that through his head. And he was a natural entrepreneur as well, but a different kind. But to your point, yeah, man, me in school, we did not get along. And I just wanted to get out as fast as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that a lot of entrepreneurs feel that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a real thing, man. A lot of people have that. It's because of the structure of school. It's meant to pump out people who are, sure, I guess, have this level of being smart, right? You know, some things about some stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then
You know
college,
what?
I guess you're supposed to go get your specialty in that thing, right? But um, yeah, it's most school, in my opinion, and I know there's teachers watching, and they're like, "Oh my god," they're like,
Yeah.
"Mm."
We're going to
But
yeah.
I can hear it now. But I just think school is meant to condition you to be a
Hmm.
worker.
Yes. Yeah. It's funny because when I started marketing, I was, like getting really into marketing. I was 16, 17, 18 years old, whatever it was. It was just out of high school too, when I was heavily into it, and I was starting my first business. And I read the book Guerrilla Marketing. One of my, like, that's what started my entire business. I devoured guerrilla marketing, because why? It was like, do everything different. And you look behind me, you can see the sign. Like, I do everything differently. And so my brother-in-law, I don't know if I told you the story last time you were on, but anyway, if I did, we'll repeat the story because I think it's cool, because it has to do with school. Anyway, my brother-in-law, he was taking official marketing, whatever they call it in school, like college or university. I don't know what they call it. And I was
Marketing
reading,
101. I don't know.
yeah, it was like, but he was like going to be a marketer. Like, it was whatever they call those things, PhDs. Like, I don't know what it's called. Like, and not just 101, but it was like, this is what I'm going to be. Okay. And so one day he brings home his books, right? All his textbooks. And I'm flipping through and I'm flipping through. I go, what the hell is this? He goes, this is marketing. I go, this is marketing. And I'm reading guerrilla marketing. Complete, like, it's just like, oh man, it's a whole other universe. I'm like, this is what they're teaching you? I go, man. So I'm starting to challenge him. And so anyway, long story short, 5 years later, 4 years later, out of school, what does he do? He becomes an accountant. And my business now, my business, and I'm not trying to judge. I'm not trying to judge or compare. I'm just telling a story about what you said, because it's just like, I was already beginning my business using marketing on knowledge that I went out to look for to learn how to build the business. So by the time he got out of school and went into a job, which is what you're saying, right? My business was already exploding. It was already worldwide, all over the world at that time, without any internet and all that stuff, by using marketing. That he was supposed to be a
Right.
professional marketer. I'm like, dude. So that even fueled the whole thing that we're talking about there. Like, my belief of, you want knowledge? Go and find the knowledge you need right now and go and apply it.
Everything you want to learn is in a book somewhere. Even in college, that's all they like. Spoiler alert: when you go to college, they just teach you what's in the book. You can read the book yourself. Like, it's just in a
read,
book. Just
read the
read
book.
it.
Read the book. Watch the movie. You're all good.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm actually gonna have to get that guerrilla marketing book. I can really tell that it made a huge impact in your life. I mean, Joey Do Different Regona, like that's I've seen that so many times, and it's never clicked for me why you say that, but it's because of this book that you read forever ago. So I'm gonna have out of all the books you recommended today, I think I might have to get the guerrilla marketing book, and then also maybe the one written by the PhD
Yeah, I'm
about
telling you
ADD.
that. Okay, so let me give you a short little story from it that will show you the difference of this. Okay, and and I'll mess this up, but I'll basically wrap it up because I know we have a hard stop as well. But let's say there's a hardware store, okay, a little mom and pop hardware store on a block, and all of a sudden these two big conglomerate things come in and plant big stores right beside that guy, right, huge, and they got all the money in the world. So what does he do? This is what guerrilla marketing is. So he changes. So in order to get to compete, not well, actually compete, but not compete with these people because it's impossible because they got all the money. He changes the sign on his door on his store. You know what he's changed the sign to?
No.
Entrance.
Oh my gosh,
You
I
see what
love
I'm
that.
saying? That's
Yeah.
guerrilla marketing. You have so these guys are promoting the two on the side are promoting like crazy to get all of the traffic to the block, and his sign says "Enter here."
Enter here. I love
So
that.
that
Actually, I've got a
little,
story here about being different as well. So, last time I was here, I told y'all that I was actually in a couple of metal bands. We ended up getting our metal band signed to a record label, but there was this other band who we were on tour with, and we were hanging out after the show, and I was talking to him. I was like, "Hey, by the way, how did y'all get signed to this label? Not because they sucked, right? Because they were really good, but I just wanted to hear this story, right? I'm a stories guy. How did you tell me about it, right?" And he goes, "Oh, it's actually a really funny story. We tried to be different. So what we did was we shipped a toilet to the record agency and put our CD in the toilet." I'm not making this up.
no, I
And
believe you. I believe you.
because you got to be different. You got to think there are hundreds of bands sending in their CDs or their music. How are you going to be different? Okay, well I'll tell you this, they've never received a shipment of a toilet before. And then they open the toilet and then boom, there's your CD,
Yeah, it's
right? Like
brilliant.
maybe they even had a message like, "Hey, maybe we suck," or
Yeah,
maybe we sound like shit, but
yeah.
something like that.
We've helped you with half the process. We flushed ourselves down the toilet. You just gotta you just gotta take the last step. What are they talking about? They can't be that bad. Let me pull this thing out and check this out. You know, it's like
Right.
that's guerrilla marketing, bro. That's what I'm talking about. So like, highly recommend you get the book because it's like nobody's doing that stuff anymore. Like now I'm even going back and rereading it, thinking, okay, well now the world it's so repetitive, it's so carbon copy, right? And it even was back then, but now it's so important. If you just get that book and you look at it and say, wow, like it's a different way of thinking. That's all it is. And
Yeah.
like that story should tell you right there, like how am I supposed to compete with these two people over here that have all this money? Think differently, bro. Like, and
Hmm.
the other thing that I took from that book, which was something that I did, was like the restaurant. What was the restaurant story? The story was that a new restaurant was opening, and what they did was they gave away free food, dinner, like lunch, you name it, for a whole week, like absolutely free. And everybody thought that they were crazy that they were going to go out of business. This is a brand new restaurant. What do you think happened? Everybody loved it, and you have lineups first of all in front going, wow, the food's got to be good, right? So all of these things, like, wow. So the people that are getting all the free food now, they're going to come back, and the restaurant is busy as crazy, and they just lost whatever it was for that first week, or didn't lose, but that was an investment. So they didn't need to do any advertising, promotions, and all that stuff, which everybody else would be doing, right? Grand opening, come here, discount this, blah blah blah. No, come in, eat as much as you want. Let us know what you think. And now you got lineups. It's crazy.
Yeah. Everybody driving by that restaurant is going,
Yeah.
"Holy crap! What is that? And how do I not know about this?" Then
Yeah.
you find out about it. Like they're giving away free food. You go to get the free food. Now you feel guilty because you're like, "I just ate all this free food. It was so good. I didn't have to pay anything. I got to go
Yeah.
back and at least buy something."
Or
Right?
it's actually really good food.
Yeah. And then a local reporter goes, "Oh my God, there's a restaurant giving out free food for the past week. When will it end?" You know, like
Right. Right. We're
now
here
you get
getting free
free
food.
press.
Oh my God. It's crazy, man. Um, okay, so we are done for today. By the way, Tanya, thanks for this. Taking folic acid out of your diet. What is folic acid? I don't even know what's in folic acid. I don't even know. A gene mutation that is a subset of the population that doesn't produce folic acid to folate, and that can manifest into ADH. Worth trying. Yeah, I got to look up what folic acid is. That's how much I
Vitamin
know
B.
about health. Like I don't know.
Apparently, it's basically like vitamin B.
Oh,
A simple Google search has
wow. See,
said.
like, there's another person that I've been really heavily following now into this, which is Dr. Romy. Dr. Romy, I think it's Dr. Romy, and she has a book called The Brain Cure. I think it's called The Brain Cure, which is all about us, like all about ADD, like and how it's been misdiagnosed and all this. And one of the things she talks about is B12. I don't know if that's the same thing, but
Yeah. Yep.
it is. So she's actually saying you need to put it into your diet. So I'm not saying Tanya's wrong or anything, but I'm
Oh, they're not the
definitely going
same
to try that. Maybe because I want to try
thing.
if it's going to help my brain fog or whatever it is. But yeah, so Tanya's saying there's some people who just can't take it. So like, yeah, everybody's so different. So I don't think I'm taking folic acid now that we're saying it, because if it's B12 or whatever it is, I don't take it.
I know my wife takes it. She's pregnant, so
Yeah, and it helps. Is
yeah.
she ADD?
No, she's pregnant.
just, just pregnant. I love it. I love it, man. All right, dude. I know you got to go. Thank you so much for another epic episode. You can see how this
It
goes.
was
Like it
epic.
goes so fast. We could be talking for hours. We'll
Yeah,
get you
it's
back,
scary.
man.
That's why I got to put a hard stop on you, Joey.
I know, man. I know.
I'll talk to you forever.
I know.
We can't do that.
I love you, bro. You're the best. You're the best. Any last words? Anything that you want to say before you go?
I'll say this. Look, tragedy is tragedy is an opportunity, right? Anytime bad things happen, no, it didn't. Whenever a bad thing happened, no, it didn't. Okay, you're gonna time. You will always move on. Okay,
Yeah.
you are growing constantly, and you're gonna get past this, right? So might as well use every single thing, whether it's a good thing that happened or a bad thing that happened or something in between. Use that as an opportunity to advance, grow, build a network, continuously learn, problem solve, and ultimately embrace failure as a learning.
Brilliantly said, man. Thank you. That's a great way to end this. Just embrace failure as learning. I love it. Alex, my friend, I will see you soon. Have fun with your wife. Have fun with your already one child daughter. It's a daughter, right? What's her name?
Yep, her name's Grace.
Grace.
She's a
Amazing.
perfect, beautiful angel who has never done a single thing wrong in her entire life. So,
I love that. I love it. I love it. Man,
thanks, man. Well, it's been an honor being on your show. I love this. Usually, you're a guest on my show, which is pretty cool. But I got to say, and I know I said this last time, but it is awesome being on the other side of it. It's really cool. So
yeah,
you've got a
thank you.
great thing going here, Joey. I appreciate the ask when you asked me to come back.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
been a lot of fun, and I really appreciate it. So thanks for having me on.
yeah, anytime, and we're gonna get you back because I love having these conversations with just people who are surrounded with great mentality and want to help the world. And that's you. Like you're a huge example of this. So
That's
thank you
me.
so much for that. We will see you
Yeah.
guys next week for another show here, and it might be about AI. I'm pretty sure this might be about AI next week too. So maybe you want to tune in for that, Alex. I will
I might have to
see.
tune in for that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
We will see everybody next week. Alex, I'll see you in about a month.
It's
Bye,
great
everyone.
having me on. Thanks for everything, man.
Cheers.